Hello and welcome back to the Formula 1 chat. We are here in the aftermath of the Monaco Grand Prix to provide our review of all the action in the Principality. Exciting race, very exciting race. Started a little bit a little bit boring, as you predicted with Monaco, but a little bit of mixed weather conditions provided a little spice to the action. What are your initial thoughts from the Grand Prix?
Best race of this season by far. It was brilliant. As you say, first, to be fair, for Monaco in the dry, the first 30 laps, 40 laps, 50 laps weren't too bad. Then the rain
Saw some
hit.
dive bombs, saw some chaos at the back.
Debris, crashes.
Some actual overtakes.
Yeah, it was really good.
Amazing.
And then the weather hit out of nowhere, and it was brilliant. We saw drivers, because when you're skating around on the road, you don't just spin, you don't just go wide, you put it in a wall in Monaco. So it made it a really interesting dynamic.
And everyone's favourite red team just completely forgot how to strategise.
Drivers being very skittish, and it mainly gave us a bit of a mixed up top 10.
Yeah,
we saw points. We saw points. It was a really good weekend. It was a
multiple surprise points finish.
Qualifying was brilliant. It was so action packed. So many drivers topped the session at so many different times. I lost count. It was a really strong weekend at Monaco, which is usually profound for being one of the most boring races in the calendar.
Yeah.
This was the best weekend by a country mile.
I have to be honest, when we saw that F3 and F2 didn't provide great races, I was really worried that we were in for another formality in Monaco. But I think, as you say, the most exciting race of the calendar so far.
Well, F2 hopefully they go exciting feature race. When Jack Doohan's car
but that's not because it wasn't because the race was exciting. Like a bloke almost got run over. But should we start, as we always do, with reverse championship order? We're going to run through all of the drivers, talk about their weekend, and we'll start in reverse championship order, constructor championship order, with the Williams team.
In Friday practice and in Q1, it looks very strong. Sargent was only a couple hundredths away from Q2, and Albon got through to Q2.
So Albon P13, Sargent P16. You'd say around Monaco they're in a really good position there to take advantage of some potential chaos, maybe a few collisions, maybe then they get some points. Didn't really pan out like that though, did it?
Sargent and a mare. I'm going to admit it now.
Yeah.
In the dry, he had a few. He got overtaken by 3 drivers in the same few corners. Yeah. He then came into the pits, and then came into the pits again after that, then put the softs on, and then they tried to get him, they were teaching him time management.
To be fair to him, his initial problem was that Nico Hülkenberg forgot how to brake and just slammed into him. After that, he had a bit of a mare.
And then the rain came out, he lost the car at the hairpin. You're not even moving.
No, it's sad.
I love Sargent, but I really don't know how he had a really poor weekend.
He did. He showed his inexperience. I can't remember how he performed here in Formula 2, but I don't remember him having a stinker. So
he got podium, I think. Yeah. But it's weird with Sargent because usually rookies take time to adapt to Formula 1.
Yeah.
I think he's got a little bit worse from when he joined. Because in Bahrain, he nearly got in Bahrain. He did all right.
I think that's just though that the tracks are more difficult. We were going to Miami, which is a track he's never driven before.
Baku, he was quick but still put it in a wall. Miami,
difficult circuit.
Was on a different part of America for all I know. And
just sat home watching, weren't
he? And Monaco was just not his weekend.
No, he had a lot of problems, and obviously, as we saw halfway through the race, the Williams team sort of realised they weren't going to get anything from the Grand Prix, so they put him onto the soft compound in order to teach him a little about time management. I think that's quite smart. He's not used to driving in Formula 1. A big issue for Sargent has been his inability to manage tyres. We've seen that at Jeddah and at Bahrain this season, so I think that's smart from Williams. They knew they couldn't take anything from the Grand Prix. A very good decision from them. The rain came, and that only posed more challenges for Sargent, and he wasn't really able to do a lot, and obviously crashed into a wall.
Alex Albon, he did his best.
An equally poor weekend, though.
Just very mediocre.
They went for the mediums, right, and then they pitted early, I believe.
Yeah,
I ended up just getting stuck in traffic deep in the order.
And then they gambled first on the inters, and that didn't work either.
And ultimately, if it wasn't for Kevin Magnussen deciding to stay on the hards and Stroll putting it in a wall, he probably wouldn't have been up in P14.
I think the drivers struggled. I think Williams got it wrong this weekend as well. All round for Williams, a really bad weekend. But they still got P14.
There needs to be some inquiries into why their tyre wear is so bad, because Alex Albon had to change tyres so early because of the graining.
Also, on a side note, James Vowles is so boring. He is just such a dull bloke. No offence to you, James,
If you're watching.
but watching you on Sky F1, you're just a dull bloke.
The problem is he's not a team principal. Is he? He's an engineer, so he speaks like an engineer.
James.
He spoke to the commentators as if he was talking to another engineer.
And
He's speaking about strategy and stuff and using.
Crofty fell asleep.
Well, no, it's very interesting. I think that insight was really interesting because Toto and Horner, they're iconic. They're brilliant at what they do. I think they're two of the best team principals in all of motorsport, probably in Formula One in the last 2 decades. But he's an idiot. But they're very, personable, great characters. But they couldn't tell you a lot about what's going on. They know obviously why the cars.
That's not their job. Their job is to principal.
Well, exactly. I don't know if James Vowles is principal material, but equally it's his first year. I'm sure he will get.
I think Williams
He'll
will
understand
get better.
more about.
I think Williams will
yeah.
get better. And so
to be fair, the technical decisions he's made so far have worked. The car seems to be in a better place.
It will click for Williams. I know, obviously, they've already scored points this year.
Yeah.
It will click at some point. They will get better over
and I
this
think
year.
expanding their academy makes sense. They've signed Luke Browning recently. It's gone. That's a decent little signing. He did well in
They've got
F3.
Browning, Colapinto, O'Sullivan.
I don't rate O'Sullivan that highly, but yeah.
But they've still got. And I think
They're
for
a
me,
fine driver.
Sargent's weekend could click at Las Vegas.
That's a fucking while to wait then, isn't it? You gotta wait till round 20.
I went for America, right? I'm trying to think of an American Grand Prix where he can stand
Austin?
out. No.
Okay.
That's just really... And Taiwan, that's a problem there.
All right.
Who's next?
Next in the championship order is, of course, the Alpha Tauri team. This had the starts of a promising weekend. Well, Tsunoda struggled in the wet, really.
Yeah,
so if we go back to qualifying, a really, really good result. Yuki Tsunoda P9, Nick De Vries P12. They're benefiting off a few drivers struggling. Lance Stroll, for example, Sergio Perez.
We'll go into him later.
We will.
Yeah, De Vries, brilliant. Everyone thought he could hit the wall.
We've bemoaned De Vries' performances a lot this season, but he put in a really good shift today. It's a really decent qualifying lap to outperform drivers like Bottas, Stroll, even Alexander Albon, who we know has been a good qualifier this year. We've spoken about how he needs to step up and how he has that race ultimatum. I think he did everything this weekend he could have to show he deserves to be in F1, but ultimately, is he doing enough? He's not going above expectations. And if we go to the race, he stayed P12, which isn't the worst in the conditions, but you definitely feel he could have taken advantage of the mental scenario that happened. You look at other teams like McLaren who took advantage of that, and then you see De Vries who sort of just stayed where he was. Not ideal for Nick De Vries. Yuki Tsunoda, well, he's been so dependable this season. P9, a really solid qualifying result. Obviously, then slipped behind the McLarens in the wet. That dumped him out the points, and then he ended up P15. I'll be honest, 2 laps down, I don't know what happened. I'm guessing he crashed and pitted. Got some damage and pitted. Yeah. I don't remember what happened to Yuki Tsunoda. There was so much going on. Could not tell you where Yuki went.
in Norris.
I remember that bit.
And then just died?
I'm guessing he got damage under pit would be the only plausible explanation.
It's really weird, that.
But a tough weekend for Yuki. I think that shows he is still inexperienced, but we know there's a lot of raw talent there.
He has to get better in the wet.
P9 in qualifying. If he did well in the wet in Japan last year, did he not?
Cost him again. Imola in the wet, he binned it. He just...
What, last season? It wasn't this season, was it?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know.
I'll say, I think everyone would have binned it in the wet in Imola this year.
They haven't gone anywhere.
Even in boats.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's still a little bit of
not improved
naivety in the rain.
Improved for AlphaTauri, but still not great.
Yeah, next up then, Alfa Romeo. Now, it looked promising.
Did they drive this weekend?
I don't remember them. I remember Zhou in Q1 went to the top of the times at some point, ended up 19th. So, how that happened, I don't know.
So Bottas
P15.
just got into Q2 15.
And then didn't really do anything with his lap.
P19. What happened in the race?
Well, Guan Yu Zhou jumped to P13, Bottas up to P11. They had a really solid race, actually. Just sort of went about their business coolly,
They
calmly.
just sat there and watched everyone else just
That's what you got to do at Monaco. That's
You
how
have.
you play Monaco.
I didn't see them at all this weekend. They didn't get points from it, but it was a better weekend.
Remember Zhou going around the outside of like Perez and Sargent on lap 1 at the lowest hairpin? That was quite good. Remember when they all got stuck on the inside and he just went, I'll go around you then. But
Nico Hülkenberg trying to kamikaze dive.
ends up 13th, his teammate 11th. They would be annoyed, I'm guessing, to miss out on points because points could be huge for an Alfa Romeo, the team that hasn't scored many. Slightly disappointing weekend, but I think a positive, progressive weekend for Alfa Romeo. They've not had many good weekends this year. This was not a bad weekend for them.
No.
Very solid weekend. Up next, then, it is the Haas F1 team. Well, qualifying couldn't have gone much worse. P17 and P18.
Rubbish.
Yeah, 100% rubbish. Just really, really poor.
I
And
think
I don't know what they were doing in the race.
I think they were on a mission to kill everyone.
They just
Like assassination attempts.
they just went mental. Nico Hülkenberg
They must have something
Lap
against
one.
Logan Sargent.
just cannoned into him. He pulled off a great dive on him later in the
No,
race.
that was
to be fair.
Magnussen.
Oh, right.
I think they were both just on a mission to wipe him out.
Fiends on the
I don't
Haas.
know what he's done to them.
I mean, I'm not going to get my team out yet, but 17 and 19th.
Magnussen didn't finish the
Dina.
race.
Don't know why he showed on the hards in the rain.
And then
What's
Hulkenberg
going
on the wets, he went down the skate road. What happened this weekend? Was Gunter drunk or something? Did he not? It's made up like bewildered. Have they not got the right data? Maybe they're smaller pit wall and they haven't got the right data as everyone else. Mental. Because it was pissing it down and Madison was going on the hard, and then when the rain eased off, they went, let's put Hulkenberg on the wets.
No clue, but they had a really
weekend.
weird weekend. Poor qualifying.
We
for
thought
the
Williams
start.
had a bad weekend.
It didn't get better when they decided to go driving into people.
And then they started
Overall,
to drive in the wet on dry
Tragic
tyres.
weekend. Nowhere near the points. Just poor from Haas. Then we have Alpine, right? No, McLaren, of course. The McLaren
Do
team.
you know what? Come
Not a
on.
bad weekend. I mean,
Come
they
on.
lost a lot of ground on Alpine, who is their top champ fight
but
this year.
come on.
But
Is it really?
given their qualifying positions, well, they're ahead of them going into this weekend.
Yeah,
They qualified
I'll give
P10 and 11. Not
Strong.
bad. You'd be thinking maybe they get double points for their share.
I mean,
they deliver what they had to.
mixed feelings for Lando. He did bin it in Q3, but then he did get impeded on his second lap. Could he have done better than P10? Who knows?
Maybe.
Piastri, I mean, he missed out by a couple hundreds to Lando. Do you know
Find
what?
it really interesting how close Piastri is to
That was
Lando.
what I say.
They're always
Take
right
my
next to
hat
each
off
other.
to Oscar Piastri because I don't think Lando's like slower than he was last year. I think Piastri's just matching him.
I think it's a mixture of the car. Lando's still adapting to how bad the car is this year, and Piastri's obviously never driven one before.
Yeah.
So for him, he's just adapting to an F1 car,
So
not
I
from an
think-
F1 car.
If you balance everything out, I think they're both on pace.
I
for
think
the car.
Piastri's on the pace of the car. I think Lando's on the pace of the car.
But
It's just that
underperforming ability.
Lando's used to driving that car over its.
I
over its
think the car probably can't do much better, but we know Lando can.
Because I don't think Daniel Ricciardo ever massively underperformed the car. I think Lando just really overperformed it. Because Ricciardo showed what he could do.
Ricciardo-
Look
yeah.
at like Monza or something. I don't think Ricciardo ever massively underperformed. It was just
How
guess
close
so.
would Ricciardo be to
I guess if
Piastri?
Ricciardo was up there in Monza and wasn't other rounds, does that show the car should be up there? I don't know. It's hard to say, really, isn't it?
Yeah, McLaren qualified 10-11. In the race, we came a 9-10.
Double points
Solid,
finish. It's
yeah.
all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Monaco to get even a position gained each is really solid. They both pulled off great overtakes in the wet. They looked calm in the wet. The team made their pitch ups at the right time. No cock ups.
And I'm going to go out and say it now, a bit early, but Piastri is showing the talent that he had to be a back-to-back champion in the previous series.
Another bonus. Nice livery. Shout out
nice
whoever
livery.
designed that because
Did like an
Seriously.
Alfa from the front, which did catch me out a few times. But with the orange rear wing, obviously celebrating the Indy 500 and other
they don't miss. They don't miss, do they, McLaren, with their special liveries? Shame they can't design a good
I was
first.
saying, we're recording this 3/4 away through IndyCar and with 50
Yes.
laps to go. I know Pat O'Ward is leaving with Roving
Was it? I thought it was
P2.
Marcus Ericsson the last time I looked at it. It was around lap 150, but I don't know what I didn't watch after that.
I might have been.
I just want to see Marcus Ericsson take back-to-back Indy 500 wins, because then that just shows me that we don't need to worry about like Colton Herta coming to F1. if Colton Herta somehow recovered that, then fair play. Well, we've been recording this. But yes, next up, it feels like we should be leaving this lot till later, because what a weekend for Alpine. What a weekend. We'll start with Pierre Gasly, because he didn't put in he put in a good lap, actually.
He was brilliant. P7 in quali, P7 in the race.
He could have done much more.
He was brilliant.
Yeah, he out-qualified the likes of Russell, who's in a much quicker car, Norris, who had half a car at that point,
and, the race,
and Tsunoda, who's been solid this season.
Ferrari. But he was overshadowed by one man, and it's another French man in the Alpine, Esteban Ocon.
What a weekend. So Ocon qualified P4. Thanks to Charles Leclerc's penalty, he was promoted to P3.
And around Monaco, being in P3, guaranteed...
He should be able to hold on. But first we should commend him for what a lap that was, because an Alpine should not be up there, and he managed to put it up there. And then secondly, this was not an easy race to hold on. Monaco, usually, you park your car, as long as your team make their pit stop well, you're fine. Not only did the team cock up the pit stop, but we had a wet weather race in Monaco where it was pure
what he did
carnage.
And he did exactly what he should have done. He drove to the best of his ability, he focused on his race, and he let Sainz and Leclerc go slipping down the skate roads and spinning around the place.
We're going to get onto Carlos Sainz in a minute, but what a clown he was this weekend.
But yeah.
Ocon, so cool, calm, composed for someone who's not used to being up there.
P3 at Monaco, I take my hat off to you.
I'm sure he's probably the title on the thumbnail for this, because he completely deserves it.
A lot of drivers stepped up this weekend.
He was excellent. And he's always been known as a good wet weather driver, hasn't he, Ocon? I think.
Yeah.
I seem to remember him good wet weather.
And I think this solidifies the statement that Alpine are easily the fifth best.
I don't know though, because I don't think their car's all that stunning. I think they are fifth. I agree with that, but I don't think they're anything stunning. I think Ocon had a really good lap. I don't really know what happened. I mean, I think that segues nicely into Ferrari. Don't know what they were doing. I can't imagine they're any harder than fourth in the constructors, are they? Yeah, they're fourth. Clown show. Qualifying, we'll start with first. Carlos Sainz, I think he was really off the pace and quite fortunate actually to get up there at the end, up into P5.
How do Leclerc's engineers not tell him he's got Lando Norris coming through?
I don't know. I
don't know. He stopped in the tunnel.
Why would you stop in the tunnel? It's the stupidest place to stop. Even if your engineers don't tell you there's someone behind you, why are you slow in the tunnel?
It's dark.
well observed, mate. It's dark.
I just don't understand. It's like they make it bad for themselves.
Yeah, I know.
It's that immediate around Monaco, you're starting in a 4-6. You're miles off, and they were miles off.
Well, they only got worse. Carlos Sainz spent the whole race trying to damage as much of his Ferrari as he could.
He put Ocon under good pressure, and as soon as the team told him to push, literally 5 seconds later, he cannons into the back of Ocon and breaks his wing.
What was he doing though? Like, just completely misjudged the brake.
He heard the word push and just didn't brake.
Slaps into him, breaks off his front wing, and then they didn't change it. But they just sort of went, well, we're going to be fourth now, aren't we?
It fell off, they drove along.
They were fine, to be fair.
And then when the rain came, in true Ferrari fashion...
It's just pure chaos.
Leclerc was like, he literally, I was seeing the onboards of him, he's snapping left and right to keep coming out. Sainz, he is so lucky that he just broke when he went sliding off at Mirabeau. How he didn't he hit the wall.
I was just on side, wasn't a wall. The two of them at one point were trying to come out of the what's it called? Novo chicane. They were messing about there, coming off of that in the wet where they're on the dries and barely have any grip, and they're just, I don't know what they were doing. They just make no sense to me. The Ferrari team, the team have no clue what they're doing. And the drivers were clowns this weekend.
They ended up double stacking. And this time it was Leclerc behind them. It was just horrendous. Horrendous weekend. 6-8 in the race.
They were ahead of Mercedes. They should have taken huge points from a 3-5. They got penalised because of their own mistakes. No, Leclerc's cursed. No, he stopped in a fucking tunnel, mate. That's not a curse, that's stupidity. Like, I've never driven an F1. I would not stop in a tunnel. I just don't know what.
As a driver, surely Q3, if you've done your lap and everyone else doing their lap, just get off the racing line.
Get out the tunnel.
What would you sit in the middle of a tunnel for?
But yeah, that's just weird. Sainz lost out to Gasly near the end. It was only like a second off, but he still lost out to him. A 6-8 for Ferrari. They took 12 points. And I'll be honest, forget about looking at whether they can challenge Mercedes. They need to keep an eye over their shoulder because they're all over the place.
Of Mercedes, lucky. So lucky.
Well, lucky, but also they played their cards right. Mercedes know what they're doing. They're a well-oiled machine by this
George
point.
Russell, we'll get him. Should we start with him? Qualified P8 behind Gasly, not great. And then in the race...
Only 2 tenths off his teammate, to be fair.
In the race, he kind of just drove his own little race, did nothing. And then when the wet came, he slid off the road, then came back in and just drove into Perez.
Yeah, because that was completely...
Then got a 5-second time
brain dead.
penalty. And despite all of that, he finished P5.
I don't know how he got 10 points. I didn't see him for like 90% of the race. The Ferraris just drove off the road and out of his way. He drove off the road at one point. He smacks into a Red Bull.
Down the skater and
I
fancy a bit of that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's just pure chaos.
Hamilton just did what he needed to do, and again he took advantage of Pittle's misfortunes. Came P4.
Yeah.
Couldn't have asked too much more from him.
I mean, you're not supposed to be able to make overtakes at Monaco. Mercedes just sort of sat there and waited until the Ferraris did their thing, and then they cruised through. I think the Mercedes team will be really happy. 23 points taken from a weekend where they wouldn't really have expected to take much from. They scored second in terms of the teams from this weekend, only behind Verstappen. So, a really good weekend in general. I think they'll definitely take that from this weekend. On a second in the championship. We'll start with...
I mean, the next two teams had such polar opposites weekends.
with the drivers, yeah.
Aston Martin.
We'll start with Lance.
What's going on?
So Q2, obviously, he was knocked out.
No. What's going on? You're in the second quickest car, right? Third quickest car. Maybe the fourth, but probably third. Last time I had a race in Miami, he was nowhere. This weekend again, he was nowhere. So
we'll start with qualifying because it was really unfortunate. We didn't mention, obviously, Lando Norris hitting the wall at the back. Debris all over the track. Him on his final run, on his warm-up to his final run, ran over the debris, completely ruined his floor, couldn't get a good lap in.
Lando crashed in Q3.
Well, he crashed in Q2.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, Q2. And then Stroll couldn't get his final lap in. His time was not great. He qualified P14. Really not a great position. From there, though, I can describe his race as completely shambolic.
The way in the wet, the way he just drove into the wall.
Well, there was something wrong with the car, weren't there?
And then the front wing got stuck under the thing, and the car just drove itself.
But he couldn't stop. The car just kept going and then crashing into walls.
It drove itself.
I don't know what it's doing.
Down the hill and into another wall.
I don't think he did any of that though. I think from what it seemed like, the engine just wouldn't stop or something.
And then obviously the wing got stuck under the car, so the wing managed to slide along the ground and carry it into the next wall.
And they
then he eventually stopped at Portier. He got out of there at the end. He's out. He did get out. He's back home, or at least in the garage. He's still stuck there. The car's still going around Monaco. He's just wall riding, can't get out.
He drove left and just kept going. He's almost in Nice. But
he's just surfing over the water because his front wing's still under his car.
But yeah, that obviously took him out of the race.
Dead
a weekend that Aston probably needed him up there. They could easily take a high points
Let's just hail the kid. Fernando Alonso.
Qualifying, what a lap. Only denied by the most ridiculous lap, which we'll get onto in a second. But Fernando Alonso, what a lap. I thought he was going to take pole.
I thought he had it. I'd like been dancing.
Max put in 2 green sectors. I thought Alonso had pole.
But yeah, no. So Alonso, brilliant lap, did all he could in quali. P2, he'd break out that.
He's proven he's still got it, hasn't
he? He held P2 off the start. He drove a brilliant race. He kept Max within touch. It wasn't like right behind him, but he kept him within touching distance. You know, once Max was in traffic, he was only 5-6 seconds off. There was potential. The rain came. His experience told him to pit onto another set of dry tyres. It didn't really work.
His team did.
Yeah,
they wanted to. They didn't think the rain would be heavy enough, and they needed to pit onto new tyres.
It didn't work. It didn't drop him behind anyone, but it meant that the gap to Max was too big.
I don't think it was ever really in a position to fight Max Verstappen this weekend.
But P2, well chuffed for that, he'll be.
Yeah, I think Alonso is really driving the wheels off that Aston Martin at the moment. It's a good car, but he's making the most of it. And when he's consistently scoring podiums, and when Checo's not up there, he's able to take that P2. I think he's maximising what the car can do right now. And he should be on for a really good championship finish. He's massively helping out Aston Martin, because without him... this is an interesting question, actually. With Seb, do you think he would be on more, the same, or less points than Alonso? Yeah, obviously. And,
Alonso. I think so strong.
But if Seb was in that car, would Aston be second in the championship right now?
No.
That's what I just think. Seb's sensational.
Right now, Alonso is better than Seb.
If you put Sebastian Vettel in the best car in his prime, he is brilliant.
And I adore Sebastian Vettel.
But Alonso is a fighter. Alonso's a lion. Yeah, exactly. He will get down and dirty anywhere on the grid, get stuck in. He's been excellent this year, and I think
he put in 3 perfect seconds in that lap that I thought was beyond pole.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, what a lap.
If we look back through this round, there has only been one Grand Prix where Fernando Alonso's not been on the podium.
What Azerbaijan to him?
He was P4.
Quality. He's such a good driver.
So consistently good. When you see...
he's like 10 years older than all his competitors.
You see Lance struggling sometimes just to even get up there, and he's so consistently up there.
Yeah.
Then on to Red Bull, our Red Bull overlords and their ridiculous pace.
This could have decided the championship.
But let's start.
This spoke volumes. This weekend spoke absolute volumes in terms of the championship.
We spoke about how Checo needs to remain consistent to have any chance of challenging Max Verstappen. But like last season, this was the first time we've seen a flashback to last season and the season before, where Checo just has a little bit of inconsistency, a poor qualifying session. He crashes the car.
In Q1, why are you throwing the car into turn 1 like that with that much speed? Ridiculous. Why are you... that made no sense to me from Checo.
And his first lap of 13.8 was nowhere near competitive. Checo Perez starting from bottom, P20 on the grid. It was really poor grid position, and it meant he couldn't do anything in the race. He got boxed in at the start. He was trying to fight people in the dry.
Pissing him out over the chicane.
Yeah.
Mental. And then at that point, obviously, once he got to the wet, Red Bull started using him as a guinea pig to test the wet weather tyres, which makes sense because he wasn't.
And then he thought Stroll hit him and sort of drove over a chicane, and then he was like, losing it through this.
Magnussen.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that again. Back to Haas. Rubbish. What happened? The Haas just stopped on the exit of the chicane, but Checo just smashed into the back of him.
Not Raskas. And then he also lost it at the swimming pool section. Hit the wall there.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on. But he finished P6. He finished. I don't know how. He finished P16.
2 laps down to his team.
Mate, I remember seeing him getting overtaken by Max the first time, I think, of Jesus. And then I saw it the second time.
Awkward.
I thought, tough weekend for Perez.
Speaking of...
Jesus Christ, Max.
This was one of the best weekends we've seen from Max Verstappen in a Formula 1 car.
Mate, that Q3 lap.
That is up there.
That was ridiculous.
That is up there. That was him finishing his Saudi lap from 2021.
That final sector.
That is up there with Checo.
Unbelievable.
Was it Hockenheim? Or no?
Checo, Hockenheim.
Vettel. Sebastian.
Oh, right, I was going to say. Checo, Hockenheim.
Not Checo. Do you know why I said Checo?
No. But that final sector, I mean, we've gone over and over, other people have gone over and over how good that corner was.
It was millimetres away from disaster.
It was
literally perfection.
Brush the dust off the wall.
It was perfection.
But he nailed it.
The whole single section, through Raskas and Anthony.
And then he's just got so much more mechanical grip that he can take it through Raskas and Anthony with so much more speed, carries so much more speed from there. And then he was practically like hugging the wall as he drove towards the line. He was just going balls to wall.
But I'm saying, I saw this graph.
Driving as hard as
it's like lap time, and Alonso's like here, and Verstappen's is here, and they're both going along, and then they hit the final sector, and Max just ends up here.
Yeah, you get these little spikes. It's just ridiculously good from Max Verstappen. He's unparalleled. He's unparalleled on the grid right now. There's no one that can challenge him.
Wet, mixed conditions, old tyres, new tyres, doesn't matter what he's on.
It's exactly what suits Max, isn't it?
Yeah, this is perfect.
His car control is obscene.
He was untouchable.
And he
got stuck in traffic.
I know Alonso did another pit stop, but I don't think he'd been anywhere near him anyway. But just a really good lap from Max Verstappen in qualifying. A really good race from him. I think it could have been a lot different without that qualifying lap. Maybe Alonso would have been able to hold him off,
Alonso's
fend him
head,
off.
He'd have fought like a lion.
Exactly. But really, really solid from Max Verstappen. And ultimately, it looks like he's coursing towards his third World
He
Championship.
gained 25 points on Checo. That's what, 30-something clear at the top of the championship?
Yeah. And Red Bull have won all of the first 7 Grand Prix.
Max Verstappen
First
won
6
5
Grand
of them.
Prix, sorry. Max has won 5. 4, Perez has won 2. But Max has been second both times Perez has won. So Max has been in the top 2 in every single race.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous
It is
consistency from Max Verstappen. But yeah, and he's not even been lucky this year.
No.
Like, he's been so unlucky at times.
You could say.
If you look at it, like qualifying, stuff like that. But yeah.
Right, L's and W's? W's and L's?
Team L of the weekend.
This is a no-brainer. It is the Haas Formula 1 team.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Williams.
Right, Williams are bad, right? But Albon qualified P13 and finished P14. The Haas, qualifying awful.
Yeah, I'm going Haas.
But they literally last from Checo. And then race, they were on assassination attempts.
I would like to give an honourable mention to Ferrari for their greatest
They
attempt
are
at
so lucky
bottling.
that Haas got out for them.
So good at just bottling anything, any sort of fortune.
I
they have.
think that actually brings us nicely onto driver L. This is close for me between Checo and Sainz.
It's not close. Checo was abysmal.
Sainz, you'll see. Yeah, no,
he was a
Checo.
clown. But
Checo was being a clown.
for the whole weekend, Checo.
Checo, yeah.
Because he was just not there. I don't know what he was doing in qualifying.
This
that
was
cost
his
him.
worst weekend at Red Bull.
Really?
Yeah.
There's definitely some competitors up there, I think.
This is his worst weekend at Red Bull.
Yeah, he struggled a lot. Team W of the weekend. For me, this is quite an easy one, but what are you saying?
It's between Alpine and McLaren, I think.
It's not, is it, though?
It is.
You're saying McLaren because you like McLaren.
They got double point spin. Yeah, no, it's Alpine. It's
Alpine.
definitely out. They're quality. 3-7.
Podium.
3-7, that's brilliant.
Yeah, a really, really good weekend from the Alpine team. I think they're just proving that they are really
Yeah.
that fifth best team, and they could even challenge Ferrari given their incompetency.
Yeah.
But
Driver W.
is there anyone else?
I'd love to give it to Esteban Ocon. Or
I
Fernando.
would, but
Ocon was brilliant. Fernando was brilliant.
they both had great weekends. But how can you not put Max up there? He was flawless.
That final sector was literally, he couldn't have gone any quicker.
Ridiculous. Absolutely
couldn't have
ridiculous
gone any
how good he's performing right now. He didn't put a foot wrong all weekend. I don't know if did he top every session. I don't think he did do
No.
the practices, did he?
Hamilton topped FP2, didn't he?
Verstappen topped both P3 and P2, but Sainz. But that was obviously someone crashed at the end of the FP1, but could have taken the Grand Slam this weekend. Did he get fastest lap? No, that went to Hamilton.
Who got driver of the day? Ocon.
Surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fastest
I
pit
think
stop in
that-
Red Bull.
I think Ocon deserves the shout out for what his effort this weekend, but it's hard to. I'd put them both in there really because they both had really good weekends.
The
But
drivers L.
drivers W. Yeah, fair enough.
No, we driver W's.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right, that is all from this weekend's action around Monte Carlo. We'll be back on Friday with our preview for the Spanish Grand Prix. Head to Catalonia. Well, you may huff when you hear the Catalonia, the Barcelona, or whatever it is called, but the Spanish Grand Prix.
Catalunya.
Yeah, that. You may huff, but they have, of course, changed the final sector. We'll be talking about how that could impact it and if anything else can happen.
Last year it was a really good race, wasn't it? Because Merck actually showed some pace. Russell
Ferrari were blown
Ferrari
into the
blew
gravel.
up. Russell led at some point, didn't he?
Oh yeah. Ferrari blew up. Verstappen was thrown into the
was-
gravel by the wind.
It was Russell, Verstappen, and Hamilton and Magnussen were crashing into each other at the back.
Yeah, no, in the middle,
In the middle.
not the back. But yes, so join us for our preview on Friday. That should be good. In the meantime, if you want something to go and watch, well, go check out some of our content on the channel. We've spoken in recent weeks about the likes of Oliver Behrman, Nick De Vries, and why Ferrari are so horrendously incompetent. And Daniel Ricciardo. That was a great video that some people watched. And what if Daniel Ricciardo never left Renault? In fact, that's going to be on the screen now. So go check that out. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.